Today I decided to give you guys a ranking of the Captain America films. This is a series of films that began in 1979. There was technically a serial way back in the day, a black and white one, but that one was technically not a movie, just a multi-part serial, so I'm not going to count that one. And so without further ado, I decided to give you guys my list from worst to best, starting with Captain America 1979, starring Reb Brown. This was a TV movie, and it's unfortunately not very good. If you want to see Captain America essentially perform no action, not get his powers till an hour into the film, and stop one truck, well, this is the movie for you. It's 70s schlock, and it's really painful and really boring. It's not the fact that a low budget makes a movie bad, but there's literally no action in this movie apart from like two scenes. I actually like Reb Brown, and he's a really fun 80s B movie actor who's been in some cheesy yet entertaining films, but this is not one of them. The origin's completely different. Captain America is not frozen this time around. He's just some guy who is related to the person who made the original Super Soldier Serum. It's kind of weird, but ultimately a snooze fest of a film that barely has anything to do with the comics at all, and one we should just probably forget. Up next, we have Captain America 1990. This one starred Matt Salinger, who is apparently J.D. Salinger, the author's son, as Captain America. It was released in 1990, but it had a very limited theatrical run and was basically a straight-to-video movie. This one does get some aspects of the origin right, like they do show him being frozen and being resurrected and him getting a super soldier serum, but unfortunately this one's just kind of a slog. It does have the Red Skull in there, which is kind of interesting. Ned Beatty shows up as a character as well, a reporter in fact. And there's a plot about Red Skull coming back in Italy and kidnapping the president, and Captain America has to stop him. But the action here is really hokey. It's just not very exciting. On top of that, Captain America doesn't have his signature bike, which is kind of a letdown. And ultimately, it's just kind of a snooze fest of a film. An improvement over the 79 one, but not by much. It does have a few things going for it, such as a somewhat accurate origin story. But between the rubber ears, yes, the suit actually has rubber ears on them, and the really crappy looking suit, it's just not that great. At least the 70s film had the excuse of having no money. This thing had something of a budget. But what we get is just kind of a crappy B movie and not much more. Up next, we have Captain America 2 Death Too Soon. This is the sequel to the 1979 TV movie, also starring Reb Brown once again, and it came out that same year. The only reason this one makes it higher than a 1990 film is that, well, this one has Christopher Lee, and it does up the action. It does seem they were trying a lot harder with this one. Trust me, none of these bottom three are, well, good. But of the three, this one was the most entertaining. And if you want to kill 90 minutes, you could do a lot worse. Some okay action, an interesting performance. I think Reb Brown's actually an okay Captain America. And you gotta love Christopher Lee, even if he's in a bad movie. But one that I could easily skip if I'm ever marathoning the Captain America films. But there are worse movies. Coming in at fourth place would have to be Captain America Brave New World. The biggest problem that I have with Captain America Brave New World is not that the Falcon is now Captain America. It's not that it doesn't have Steve Rogers. And it's not that it's not heavily connected to the first three films. The problem with this movie is it's just really underwhelming. I watched this one recently. I didn't see it in theaters, but it was added to streaming, so I decided to give it a shot. And the whole film just has this kind of era of like cheapness to it. Now, obviously not cheapness in the way of like the first three films on this list. Apart from a couple of big action sequences towards the end of the movie, the film just has a lackluster kind of vibe to it. I really like Anthony Mackie in the MCU, and I really enjoy his character as the Falcon. I don't really love him taking the mantle of Captain America because it just seems kind of pointless. Falcon's already a pretty interesting superhero, and you could easily delve upon that character more. But here he's basically just the Falcon again, but he has a Captain America shield. It just felt like the standalone Falcon movie that they were just calling Captain America. And on top of that, this film's not even really a Captain America film. And I'm not saying that because it doesn't have Steve Rogers. I mean, it's really an Incredible Hulk sequel. That's right, several loose ends from the 2008 Hulk movie are tied up here. So let me get this straight. We can't get an Incredible Hulk 2, even when the MCU was at its peak, but we can get a movie that is basically a sequel to that film, only with Captain Falcon America here. It just doesn't make much sense. I think Anthony Mackie deserved a lot better, and he could have been Captain America, but they didn't really fully embrace it. It felt like they were just kind of half giving him the mantle, but have him kept the wings, which just makes him feel like Falcon. If you're gonna pass the mantle, go ahead and do it. It's been done in other films and done well, but you have to commit to it, and this film felt like it was just tiptoeing around the idea. Not a terrible film, with a few good action sequences. I think the finale is actually pretty fun as well, but this one left a lot to be desired, and not one that I really feel like revisiting anytime soon. Coming at number 3 would have to be Captain America, the First Avenger. This one almost made it into second place, but I think what holds this one back is it doesn't have that espionage, awesome action that was introduced by the Russo brothers. This one is still very entertaining, and it's directed by Joe Johnston, who I think is a pretty entertaining director. He was given the job basically because he had previously directed The Rocketeer, which is a similar type of movie, and this really does feel kind of like The Rocketeer. Lots of fun, pulpy action. It really feels like a 90s comic book film, even though it was released in 2011, and it's just a fun, basic origin story. There's nothing super special about this one, but Hugo Weaving just does a damn good job as the Red Skull. Chris Evans is magnificently cast in the part as Captain America. Sebastian Stan does a really good job as Bucky, and ultimately it's just an entertaining film through and through. It's a great origin story and a fun Captain America film. Not really many complaints here, just kind of wish it had a little more depth to it. But apart from that, it's really solid. Coming at number 2 would have to be Captain America Civil War. This is really more of an Avengers film than it is a Captain America film. It even has more characters in this movie than the first 2 Avengers. It's also a Black Panther origin story. I think that's my only real big problem with this one, is that there's a little too much going on between, like I said, a Black Panther origin. You also have the Soviet Accords going on. You have Tony and Cap bickering. You have Wanda going through some personal stuff after accidentally killing some hostages. You have heroes joining sides. You have the introduction of Spider-Man. There's just a lot in this movie, and it is a pretty stuffed picture. An entertaining one, don't get me wrong, but there's a few plot holes here and there. There's a lot of plot conveniences as well. And as far as the reason they're fighting, it's kind of silly. I mean, this could have easily been just resolved with a talk. And once the fight is over, half the heroes are just arrested. I guess they just allow themselves to be arrested. No one really lost the fight in the movie, so why do they just take off? It makes no sense, and the motivations for joining each side are pretty weak. I mean, honestly, I think Cap's in the right in this situation, but you can kind of see Tony's side. But there's next to no motivation for half these people. They just randomly choose a side arbitrarily. But it's still an entertaining film, and if you love Iron Man, you really love this one because he's heavily featured in it. And if you're a fan of Captain America, you'll get another great entry to that series as well. And hell, if you like Black Panther, this is the film for you too. A little overstuffed, but still entertaining. Coming at number 1 would have to be Captain America, the Winter Soldier. This film is a great espionage thriller film starring Captain America. It almost feels like a James Bond film in a way. Between government cover-ups, sleeper agents, assassination attempts, it's got it all, man. And it's one of my favorite spy movies, even though it's also a Captain America movie. This is also, I have to admit, my favorite film in the MCU. I just love it so much, and I think that it's a magnificent addition to that franchise. I think this is the Russo's best entry, and it's no wonder they were given the task of bringing the biggest Avengers films to the screen after this film and its follow-up, Civil War. This film is magnificent and shows the return of Cap's best friend and sidekick, Bucky, who this time has been turned into the villainous Winter Soldier. It's up to Cap to try to stop his friend, as well as Hydra, who are more or less taken over S.H.I.E.L.D., and it leads to a badass and awesome film that is, in my opinion, the best in the series. Highly entertaining, great action, great acting, great espionage, an amazing story. This film just has it all. And like I said, it's my favorite MCU film. And thus, it obviously has to be my favorite Captain America film as well. Well, that's my list. I thank you all for watching. Really, only the MCU Captain America films are really worth watching. I would have included the Avengers films here, but I already have a list for those, so I stuck strictly to the Captain America films. I don't really recommend the ones from the 70s or the one from 1990, but they are fun to watch if you just want to see a cheesy 90s or 70s oddity. But other than that, I wouldn't really recommend those. Let me know your favorite Captain America film down below, or just give me your ranking, and a peace out.